What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marv, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, last week we started something new. We decided to do a fantasy sports, just whole expose basically. It wasn't like we was doing a deep dive or nothing, but what we was doing is because I'm good at fantasy basketball, I decided to do a special segment just about fantasy basketball. And it did get a little viral. I'm not going to say it got millions of views, but it got views. You know what I'm saying? People was checking it out. And I said, maybe there's something I'm on to about this. And little did I know that the words that I use to inspire others would help me get my first wins in my leagues in fantasy basketball. For those of you who don't play fantasy sports, this video may not be for you. But I'm here to let you know that if you keep watching, you might be interested in playing fantasy sports as well. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Anybody who watched and hit me back and was like, yo, Marv, appreciate the advice. I appreciate you for watching. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways. Now, be that as it may, we still got some work to do, ladies and gentlemen. This is only week 2 now. Week 1 was last week. That happened. We had some fun. We learned some things. We had some ups. We had some downs. And now here we are, week 2. About to go in again. First off, before I go any further, if you won your first week in fantasy basketball, take a moment to give yourself a round of applause. Take that moment, pat yourself on the back like DIY does, and give yourself a round of applause because you earned it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was all you. True testimony real quick. I started off my championship defense in my fantasy league by winning not one, but both the fantasy leagues that I won my fantasy championship with. And again, like I told you, I'm back outside. I'm playing Donkey Kong Bonanza on my Switch 2 that I got from my earnings in fantasy sports this year. So right after this, I'm about to go run that. I should have got that Pokemon Z to A, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe if I win this year, there'll be a more fire game down the line I'm going to cop. You know what I'm saying? But if you won your first one, congratulations to you. I had my fantasy finals rematch against one of my arch nemesis in fantasy sports, and I cooked them. I felt good about that. Wasn't a true beatdown, but I got the W, and that's what counts. A win is a win, especially when you earn it the right way. So feeling good about that. If you got a W based on my words, you're welcome. You're welcome. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. Now, that being said, let's get on to what's going on with week 2. Now, some of my words that I said last week was real because it's how I won. And I got to see in the first week how right I really, really was. For example, one of the things I told you all is when you're drafting somebody, right, or you're looking in the waiver wire, look for somebody on a team that is struggling. I told you that. And look what happened. On the Washington Wizards, even though they're not struggling so much right now, Keyshawn George, hell of a week. Okay, Sunday wasn't his best day, but his first 2 games, he cooked, right? I think there was one game, my man had like 30-some points, 11 rebounds. He cooked. From a fantasy points perspective, there was a night he scored more points than Wemby. Let that sink into your mind. He scored more fantasy points than Victor Wembanyama. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look for guys like him. Speaking of Wemby, Spurs are struggling right now. Well, not this year. This year, they're 3-0. So we'll get to Wemby in just a moment. But I got other guys that I was telling y'all about. Remember I told y'all that there was 2 guys on the Hornets that you had to look out for because they were on the Hornets, and the Hornets is doing okay at best. Right now, actually, I think they're either 2-1 or 3-0, which is like, what? But I guess it is what it is. But Ryan Kalkbrenner, right? He was one of them. He's cooking right now. He's a center on the team. And then their center position, there's Mason Plumlee and
a few moments later.
Okay, I looked it up. My fault. It took me longer than I thought to look it up. I was in a deep thought, and I was like, let me look this up real quick. So, yeah, I said Kalkbrenner and Con Newpel. If I got that right, Con Newpel. He just played the Wizards. It was a little bit of a blowout game, but he cooked. And once again, Brandon Miller is hurt, which I told you, dice roll, right? So once again, Brandon Miller is hurt. Prayers up. Hope he gets through. But because of that, Carl Newpel went off against Washington. Had 20.6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and he only had 2 turnovers. Played 35 minutes. So from a fantasy perspective, chef's kiss, right? Cooking. So that's what you want. You want guys on struggling teams. Don't get me wrong. If you get this guy that's doing his thing on a good team, yeah, get him in that draft. If he's on the waiver wire, get him in the waiver wire. But if you see somebody that's on Charlotte Hornets, Sacramento Kings, Washington, well, scratch the Sacramento Kings. The reason why you scratch the Sacramento Kings, I'm going to be honest with y'all. When it comes to the Sacramento Kings, I really don't try to draft any of them outside of maybe Sabonis. If I have no choice in the first round, I'm getting Sabonis. If I have a choice in the later round to maybe get probably DeRozan, I just feel like after those two, maybe Malik Monk, everybody else is a dice roll. It's a dart throw. And the reason why is because those guys either get hurt or they just play inconsistent. Like Zach LaVine, he can hoop. We know this. But at the same time, when he plays with DeRozan, him and the two of them don't play always consistently well. One of them is going to do good. One of them is not going to do good. Sometimes they both do good. And then they both might get hurt. LaVine has a stronger chance of getting hurt than DeRozan. So I usually try to avoid all Sacramento Kings if they're not Sabonis and maybe not DeRozan. You go with it the best way you want. Even Keegan Murray is good, but it's just like he's not going to get you the points you need. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. So I try to avoid those guys. But again, Washington Wizards, Charlotte Hornets, Pelicans, you know what I'm saying? Even now the Celtics, they struggling. They 0-3, right? So if you go for those guys where it's just like they not hooping because the team as a whole is trash, you're gonna find a hidden gem on that bench. Gonna come off the bench, he gonna hoop, he gonna get you 20. You know what I'm saying? He gonna play 35 minutes and get you 20. You wanna look there. So zero in on the teams that are 0-3 to start the season. Zero in on the teams that nobody even looking for, like a Utah Jazz, like a Portland Trail Blazers, right? Look at those teams. You will find somebody that you ain't know is hooping on there. And one word of advice, I hate this whole narrative of like whenever you watch these fancy videos, you know what I'm saying? And there's always a person that's like, oh, sorry, my mic. Oh, make sure you look out for, this one player and he's rostered in 45% of leagues. Nobody cares. I don't. If he's not in my league right now, I don't care if he's rostered in anybody else's league. Because newsflash, fam, I'm not in that league. I could care less about your league. Yahoo, Sleeper, ESPN, CBS, I don't care. I'm in the ESPN league with my friends. If I see that player in that league, I might rock with him. But if I hear that he's in another league, I'm not losing sleep over that, okay? I'll lose sleep if I lose that person in that league. So please, all you fantasy streamers and all of that, stop with he's rostered in 87% of leagues. She's rostered in 67% of leagues. To me, that does nothing. That does nothing. That doesn't mean that they're a hot commodity. That just means, oh yeah, people are starting to notice him or her. That's it. So let's get out of all of that. That's just a public service announcement from your boy Marv here in Nerds in the Hood. Now, let's focus on people we should be looking at this week based on so many different factors. Injuries. Right now, we know that Anthony Edwards is injured. We know that Luka Doncic is going to be out for like a week. Anthony Edwards is going to be out for 2 weeks. LeBron James is still out, right? So we got some people that is hurting right now, and they are out, just to name a few. Brandon Miller, like I said earlier, is out. We don't know how long he's going to be out yet. And so on and so forth. I just told you who to pick up if Brandon Miller is going to be out for a little while. Actually, Kevin Porter Jr. on the Bucks, and I think Cole Anthony might come back later this week, but Kevin Porter Jr. is hurting. So right now, right, if you need a replacement, you can go get Ben Shepherd. Ben Shepherd right now, he's hit or miss. not gonna lie. His last 2 games since he started, he was hooping. And then the last game he just did, he had 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He's playing the minutes, so the minutes are there. So there is a chance that he could come back and have another heck of a game. Maybe. But it's easier said than done. So Ben Shepherd is an interesting dice roll because right now there's no Benedict Mathurin. He's hurt. He might come back soon. There's no Tyrese Halliburton. We already know that. There is no Andrew Nembhard right now. Nembhard might come back later this week as well. So if Nembhard or Mathurin comes back, especially if Nembhard comes back, don't pick up Ben Shepherd. But if neither of them are coming back this week, hold them down until one of them comes back first. Because whoever comes back, he's going to be affected by that points-wise, right? When it comes to the Wolves, the Timberwolves, you're probably thinking in your mind, okay, I could probably get one of these guys off the bench, Bones Highland or Shannon Jr. or Clark. Wouldn't jump the gun on that just yet. If you're desperate, pick the 3 of them up. One of the 3 of them, not all 3. If you're desperate, pick one of the 3 of them up. My best guess would probably be maybe Bones Highland. He is an underrated player, but he doesn't get the time he deserves to get. I don't know why. I just know that he does. So you can go with him. But again, that is a risk you have to be willing to take. But doesn't hurt to try. But also remember, on this team, Jaden McDaniels is still healthy. Dante DiVincenzo is good to go. Julius Randle is now going to be the focal point of the offense. So it's kind of hard to see one of those 3 guys taking the offensive share of what Julius Randle is about to receive. So I wouldn't really say go for them. It's just you got to be really desperate. Like, you have nowhere else to turn. Jeremiah Fears on the New Orleans Pelicans with no DeJounte Murray and a team that's just trying to figure it all out with the people that they got. He hooping. And the minutes is showing that he's worth the hoop. So if he's available in your leagues, I would say go get him if you can. Check him out because I think he's hooping. And another one, Ryan Rollins on a Milwaukee team where it's really Miles Turner, Giannis. Ryan Rollins is hooping. You can also try for AJ Green as well. 2 guys that I would say check them out. So there's different people you could check out. Now, people that I was wrong about. I told you it was Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson. I was wrong. Bradley Beal. I was wrong, although I did say he was a dice roll. But he's already showing, Bradley Beal especially, he's already showing that, one, doesn't look like he's going to get that much minutes to begin with. Although, to be fair, the first 2 games he played in were garbage time. His team either cooked somebody or got cooked. So it was hard to really say, okay, he's going to get an ample amount of time. But his coach, Tyronn Lue, was like, hey, look, fam, not happening. We just going to cap him at a certain amount of time. So if you invested in Bradley Beal as a draft pick, I'm sorry for you. I was one that did it too. I thought that something was going to be there. That's not to say it's all over for Bradley Beal. That's just to say it's hard to really see a scenario where Bradley Beal comes back off an injury, which he currently is right now, and just starts going off for like 20 to 30 points. James Harden just got his groove. Kawhi Leonard is healthy. John Collins is playing at a good level, and Zubac is playing near all-star levels. So it's kind of hard to really see him going into a world where he's going to either come back to maybe not Washington Wizards Beal, but like first season Phoenix Suns Beal. It's hard to see that. So because of that, I would say if you're okay with dropping him, drop him. If you drafted Wemby, Zion, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., if you drafted any of those guys, congratulations. Because so far, you're doing okay, right? Now, there's always a chance that any player can get injured, and those several guys have the strongest chance of getting injured at some point during the season. And it is early days. It's only been a week and change. So it's always subject to somebody still getting hurt. And I'm not praying that they do. We don't pray over here for somebody's downfall. But we just saying if they do, you was warned. You was warned. You playing with a fine line. These moles could get hurt just by a gentle breeze. You see it when you see Wemby. Right now, Wemby is playing out of his mind. No matter what you shoot, if he's near you, he is blocking your shot. It's it. He's blocked 4 people in the same play. I'm sitting here like, what in the hell is going on? My son is going crazy. He looked like he's about to rack up every award if he stays healthy. Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, whatever you want to call it, he's about to go ham. So again, I got a friend, shout out to my boy Rich. He drafted him first pick, and so far it looks like his draft pick is paying off. He's had Wemby for 3 freaking years, so ain't nobody ever gonna have him. I'm a little jealous, I ain't gonna lie, because the guy is a beast. He's almost 8 feet tall. So if you got those people, congrats to you right now. You winning, or I hope you winning, but I need to see more, man. If they stay healthy, I will be surprised if these guys can get to February without having to sit out an ample amount of time. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna be surprised. Some of the other people I want to hit y'all with the I told you so and I was right. Michael Porter Jr. being one of them. Cam Thomas, I don't believe I said anything about it. I think I did, but I drafted him yesterday. Homie scored 40 points. Now, from a funny thing is, I know there was one game where he did have 9 assists. He almost had 10 assists, which for him is a rarity. But when he scored that 40 points, I don't even think he got 1 assist. Cam Thomas is a great player, but my man is a ball hog. I ain't gonna lie. But if you go on for 40 and you get the 40, it's kind of like, Tonight is a really interesting game because they're playing the Houston Rockets. So we're going to look at it as a Kevin Durant revenge game, even though it might not be a revenge game as much as we thought. But some more, and I'm just going crazy with it because, one, I'm just hyped because I won my first game. And two, NBA basketball for week 2 starts in 1 hour. So I'm just trying to like have all of this ready to go for like the next, so I can watch TV. Long story short. Now that the NBA is back on NBC, I'm trying to watch all the games I can watch. And this is a very interesting night because if I'm right, I think this is the sports equinox. If y'all don't know what that is a day when basically as many sports as it can is all on at the same day. So we have the World Series. We got NBA basketball on a Monday. We got Monday Night Football with the Chiefs and the Commanders. We got, I'm sure there's some college basketball going on somewhere. And we got Monday Night Raw. So it is just straight sports entertainment on all platforms. So whatever you need to watch, you can watch. Oh, and NHL hockey. How could I forget? So there's all types of sports going on tonight. So that's a good thing. So I'm not trying to rush too much, but let's talk about some other things. In my league, we do what we call games played, like a limit, right? So what happens is if you, like, let's say we set the limit for the week at 40, which is actually what we set this week. We set the limit at 40. So what that means is if 10 people play today, that's 10 people. That means for the rest of the week, you can only play 30 more people between Tuesday and Sunday. Thankfully, the schedule sometimes is not always a bunch of teams playing, all day, like every day, whatever. So some days you'll have only 2 people playing. Some days you'll have 5. But that first day, you want to just go out guns blazing. If you got 10, put that 10 out there, watch what they do. And then tomorrow you just pray that like you'll be fine and and you'll go through from there. So that's what I'm doing, right? But I'm saying that to say one thing to remember is that there is nothing wrong with picking 2 good players from the same team. It might seem a bit risky, and it is, but there is nothing wrong with picking 2 people from the same damn team. Right now on my squad, I got Zubac and Beal, which there's the one risk, right? Zubac is hooping, Beal is not. But then I also got Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton, which Claxton is kind of hooping, Cam Thomas is hooping. And then I got Steph Curry and Jonathan Kuminga. Steph Curry's always hooping. Jonathan Kuminga is kind of hooping. So you see the risk there? If you go on a team and you get lucky and you get, for example, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, then you might be okay. you might be okay. Or if you get Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero or Jalen Brunson and Cat, then you're getting the two best players, then cool, by all means, right? But if you go on a team and you're like, hey, I just drafted Giannis, who else did you draft? You didn't get Miles Turner. You got like some guy who just sits on the bench, or you got, no disrespect, Giannis's brother, then what did you do? That was a waste of a draft pick, right? You can't expect Thanasis to go in and start doing what Giannis is doing. He can, it's been shown. He even did it against my Knicks, Jesus. But at the end of the day, he's not going to do that every game. So there is nothing wrong with picking two people on the same damn team. But there is a risk. That's all it is. Everything is a risk. But the risk is where you got to find it to help yourself get the W better. So I might have to reevaluate my team now that I realize I got 6 players and 2 of them all play on the same team. So I have to reevaluate and go get me somebody who's not hooping. Just because you have West Coast games doesn't mean you have a stronger chance of winning. A lot of people think that, okay, if I get a guy who plays his games at 10 o'clock, then I'll win because the person at 7 o'clock won't be able to counter the guy who plays at 10 o'clock. No, doesn't matter. A person can play at 7 and go off and get you 40 to 50 fantasy points. And you might have that guy at 10 who just gives you 20. Now you're down 30. So it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you want somebody who is going to shine no matter what time they play. 7, 8, 9, 10, 10:30. Doesn't matter what time they play. You want them to hoop. Do not, I repeat, do not pick a person based on how many nationally televised games they have. Don't nobody care what team, what time or channel they come on. Don't matter if they West Coast, East Coast. I don't care if it's Pacific Coast. I don't care if they're in a different time zone. They're playing in another country. I just care that they can hoop. That's it. If you can hoop and you playing out in London every day, they got a London NBA and expansion team, but that mug is hooping every single day, I'm drafting the mug in London. I'm drafting, bruv. I'm drafting him because he's about to do big things. So that is where you want to be. Get the guy that can hoop. Know who can hoop. Know who's the sleeper. Know who's the underrated gem. Pick those guys up ASAP. Don't worry about the schedule. Just worry about what's going on with their status. Make sure that they're healthy. Make sure that they can hoop. Make sure that they don't need their minutes capped. Make sure that they got a good relationship with their coach. Read up on that because they'll get better burn that way. The coach is impressed with his recent play. Picking him up. And then that one game he just have a bad game. You stay wary. Stay wary. Stay in it. Wait for it. And the minute you see that mug hooping bad again, drop his ass like a bad habit. That's what you got to do. Those are where your strategies at. Have patience with your players. The first couple of games, it might sometimes be their worst couple of games. And then you might drop them. This is the worst feeling in the world, is dropping a player and watching him go off when he's not on your team no more. Hurts so bad. I've picked up players that have gone off and watched their previous owners go, "Fan, why wasn't you doing that on my team?" Because they didn't have enough patience. And I've made that same mistake too. But patience is such a virtue sometimes. Give it 2 to 3 games. If you don't see them hooping properly in 2 to 3 games, then you have the right to decide on dropping them from your team. Because now you got to think about the coming weeks ahead. If they're doing this in their first 3 games, what are they doing in their next 3 games, and the next 3 games after that, and the next 3 games after that? So just different tips and tricks that you got to think about. And I'm going to have different tips and tricks every week on these videos because I want y'all to win like your boy. I want y'all to get that money. I want y'all to sit back with your free Nintendo Switch 2 as well and get yourself some games. FYI, Donkey Kong Bonanza is an amazing game. Might be one of the best games of the year. So I paid $70 for the game, but the system free. Priceless. So I want to share in these sentiments with you. I want you to win. But you got to want to win too. You got to want to watch these videos, baby. It's week 2. Stay focused and patient. Stay the course. But if they still hooping bad by Wednesday, you do reserve the right to kindly remove them from your team. Just look at who it is first. You know what I'm saying? Just a couple more names that I just want to throw your way that you guys just need to pay attention to. Bryce Sensabaugh. I said this last week. I said he was going to hoop. He is looking to become the sixth man of the year. He is hooping. Pick that man up. Derek White had a bad game, couple games, but he is hooping. And a new friend of mine, Cedric Coward. That was an interesting name, right? We got Jeremiah Fears, but then you got Cedric Coward. You know what I'm saying? Like, Fears got a 0, so he fears nothing. But Coward is 23. So is he saying Jordan's a coward or LeBron's a coward? I don't know. Anyway, Cedric Coward from the Memphis Grizzlies. I picked this dude up. Not going to lie. I didn't know much about him. But his first game, he had a nice game. I said, all right, I'm going to pick him up again. And he proceeds to go off for 2 more games. He had a nice game against the Pacers and an even nicer game against... No, he had a nice game against the Heat and an even nicer game against the Pacers. And tonight he's playing the Warriors. So we'll see what he does with them. But right now, the Grizzlies don't got a lot going for them outside of Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant. So they need a guy to step up. And this rookie looks like he might be the one to do it. So think about those names when you are looking on the waiver wire. If you see those names, pick those names up. Again, like I said, Trey Jones is hooping right now until people come back. Dillon Brooks weirdly has these stretches where he actually does really well and then it all goes south. So I would say pick up Dillon Brooks right now while he's cooking, because one day it's going to disappear. You know what I'm saying? And Walter Clayton Jr. Yes, I know that sounds like a funny name from a Dave Chappelle skit about the Ku Klux Klan dude, but he's not. That's not who he is. He is a guy that is hooping also for the Jazz. His last 2 games against the Clippers and the Kings, he put up work with near double-double moves, near triple-double in one of them with the Clippers. So I would say pick him up. If you have nobody else that you need, definitely pick him up. And again, always look for who's struggling on certain teams, man, because you never know. You never know. That is it for me. I have exhausted as much as I could say. I was just super hyped that I got my first 2 wins, and I just want to bask in that. So I'm going to go do that and get myself ready for these Monday night games and this sports equinox that is about to embrace my television set. I can watch any sport event I need to at the moment. So I'm going to go enjoy that, and I hope you do the same. Good luck to you all in week 2. As always, go Knicks, go Knicks, go Knicks, go Rangers. Prayers up to Cam Scatterbull, who got injured yesterday. Hoping for you to have a speedy recovery and get healthy for next season, unless you find your way to miraculously coming back this season. But don't rush. It don't look like we going anywhere past the season. So with that being said, follow me on social media using the link tree in the description below. Write in the comments, who is somebody who helped your team win last week? Who is somebody we shouldn't be sleeping on? Who's somebody we should go scoop if they're in your league right now? Let me know. I might have missed somebody. I might need some advice myself. Help me, help us. Help a brother, help a brother. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to catch y'all next time on another edition of The Nerds in the Hood. Peace.